It's no secret that this game is packed full of references to characters and locations from past Sonic games. I thought I would try to compile all of those into one video, along with some other fun stuff. Hence this video, looking at Easter eggs and references in Sonic Frontiers. Starting with some fun stuff. Fun fact, there are no water levels in cyberspace at all, which is a good thing. Out in the world, there is some water, but not very much. Still, there is enough that it's possible to submerge yourself, and once you run out of oxygen, Sonic will unceremoniously die. If you find yourself in one of the red floating bubble enemies, either on Rhea or Oranos Islands, you'll end up hearing the classic theme and countdown, and it is as anxiety-inducing as always. The game also has lava, and touching it means instant death. While there is a fun voice line, that's not why I bring it up. During the minigame where you collect spare parts for Tails and the mechanic Coco on Chaos Island, touching the lava will damage him and pop him into the air, kinda recreating the pants on fire animation that we've come to expect from Mario. While this might be a coincidence, it also might be a fun little reference. Also, I'm sure we've all heard of Sonic's love of chili dogs. While the first time he ate a chili dog in a video game was in Sonic Unleashed, his sort of connection with chili dogs goes as far back as 1992, written in the story bible for the Sonic the Hedgehog Saturday morning cartoon. Apparently, Sonic's Uncle Chuck made the chili dogs, and Sonic was the delivery boy. And along with that, you can actually fish up a red can, whose description states that it looks like it might have contained chili con carne for chili dogs. Another fun little throwback can be found in this brief back and forth between Sage and Sonic.
What is your end goal?
It varies. Sometimes it's a spinning sign, sometimes it's a big old ring.
No.
Also, while fishing, you can find one of these Eggman signposts. Now let's move on to the specific references, which is mainly dialogue from Sonic and others, which I've tried to organize a bit, but it's still kind of messy, so there is no particular order.
Parts of this island are really lovely. I should bring Cream here sometime.
If you don't know, Cream the Rabbit was created by Sonic Team to fill the flying role for Team Rose in Sonic Heroes, but they decided to introduce her first with Sonic Advance 2. On a more somber note, Sonic can say this line,
Amy, Cream will never forgive me if I don't bring you back.
Which is a reference to the close friendship between Cream and Amy, but unfortunately there is no mention of Cream's other close friend and constant companion, Cheese the Chow. Still, Sonic does have a line where he wonders if there might be a Chow garden hidden nearby, but shoots down the idea because it's not the right climate. In addition to the beloved features of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, this is actually a fun reference to the fact that Sega refuses to give us a standalone Chow garden game because they are cowards. Also, in the final cutscene, where our four main characters are preparing to leave the Starfall Island and go off on their own ways,
I wonder if Cream and Styx are free. Make a road trip out of it.
Styx refers to Styx the Badger, a character first introduced in Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric as a helpful NPC, then becoming a playable character in the subsequent 3DS games. You may have also seen her in the Sonic Boom TV show, where she is more of a wacky, paranoid character, which much like the rest of the show is pretty fun. Sort of related to Cream, Sonic has a voice line naming Blaze the Cat.
What I wouldn't give to have Blaze's help right about now.
Blaze is an Imperial princess from an alternate dimension. Blaze was introduced in Sonic Rush and became good friends with Cream the Rabbit. She also played a prominent role in Sonic 06, but that's besides the point. Sonic also has a voice line where he claims that the surroundings kind of remind him of where they found Babylon Garden, and then he wonders what Jet is up to. He's talking about Jet the Hawk, leader of the Babylon Rogues, which acts as the rival group in Sonic Riders. The three birds in the Babylon Rogues are descendants of the Babylonians, an ancient civilization of aliens who became stranded on Earth, and Babylon Garden, which looks like a giant floating island, was actually the Babylonians' spaceship. The Babylonians also get a mention in Eggman Memo number 7.
Who were the ancients? They predate any civilization by a wide margin. The Echidnas? Pfft. The Black Arms? Please. The Babylonians? Hardly.
The Echidnas are of course the people that Knuckles descends from, and we just talked about the Babylonians, so the Black Arms is actually the hive mind collection of creatures created and led by Black Doom, and they're also aliens, having traveled through space on the Black Comet, which all originates from the very edgy game Shadow the Hedgehog. Sonic even mentions Shadow by name, saying how he wouldn't mind his help right about now. As you may know, Shadow the Hedgehog is the ultimate life form created by Gerald Robotnik in Sonic Adventure 2. One of the main plot points of that game is Shadow's tragic backstory. He was created while Gerald was attempting to create a cure for Maria's illness, and Maria and Shadow became close friends, and then Maria was taken out by some gun soldiers. On that note, Maria is of course the cousin of Eggman, something mentioned in Eggman Memo number 17.
Never really knew my cousin Maria. Everyone spoke of her like she was very special. All that love for someone who was gone when I was right there.
And Memo number 2 also name drops Gun.
Gun military craft doing in here. Sage has helped me avoid the worst of it, and it doesn't appear to be manned. Is it a defense mechanism? I need to learn more.
Of course, Gun is the Guardian Units of Nations, a military organization first seen in Sonic Adventure 2. They act as a sort of military and security branch of the United Federations, which is basically the primary government of Earth. Of course, the United Federations is mentioned in Eggman Memo, specifically number 4.
I found elements from my own Eggnet, the United Federation, even planet Donpa Kingdom race data.
And quick aside, planet Donpa Kingdom is a location mentioned in Team Sonic Racing, and it's where the racing industry philanthropist alien, the Donpa, calls home. That's cool and all, but I'm waiting for Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing to become canon, because then I could talk about Banjo-Kazooie without going off topic. Back to this impromptu Sonic Adventure section, Sonic has 2 voice lines mentioning Rouge the Bat.
I wonder if it's too late to call Rouge and ask her to steal the other emeralds for me.
She was also introduced in Sonic Adventure 2, acting as the Dark Story equivalent to Knuckles. Also, while on Ares Island, Sonic can give us this voice line.
It's dry, but there's no ghosts. I'll take my ghost-free desert, thank you.
It's possible that a ghost-free desert is calling back to either Death Chamber, where Knuckles went through a level filled with ghosts that takes place inside of a pyramid in a desert, or maybe it's talking about the Hudoro enemies, which are ghosts that can be found in Sandopolis Zone from Sonic and Knuckles. Also, Sandopolis is mentioned by name in another Ares Island specific quote from Sonic. Also, Station Square is mentioned.
Who was it who stopped Eggman from blowing up Station Square, huh?
And one cutscene discussing the Ark.
But together you stopped the Ark, overcame Neo-Metal.
And of course, Neo-Metal was the big bad in Sonic Heroes. That game had 4 trios: Team Sonic, Team Dark, Team Rose, and Team Chaotix. Team Dark had Shadow, Rouge, and E123 Omega, a robot who gets name dropped by Sonic twice.
I bet Omega would have loved to take on those Titans. That is some heavy firepower. Omega would be jealous.
Interestingly, the only person that Sonic seems to bring up in a way that shows that he doesn't like them is actually Zavok.
I bet Zavok would feel right at home here. Wonder how he's doing. Terrible, I hope.
Zavok is the leader of the Deadly Six, the villain group of Sonic Lost World, and he also appears in Sonic Forces as a imitation. The Deadly Six is also mentioned during a conversation between Sonic and Tails.
Whatever assaulted the island sure packed a punch. That was on par with Dark Gaia, easy.
As you may know, Dark Gaia is a primordial god that dwells within the earth, and also the fact that he's canon means that his light side counterpart, Chip, is also canon, which may or may not be a good thing depending on what you think of Chip. Also from Elish, the arid country of Shamar is mentioned when Sonic talks about wanting to eat more of their signature curry, and a bit out of nowhere.
Man, I could probably call Yacker all the way on Planet Wisp with this thing.
Yacker was the white wisp that acts as a guide for Sonic and Tails throughout Sonic Colors. Also relevant, Eggman Memo number 13 mentions his 2 robot lackeys.
Sage is performing at peak efficiency. I wonder where I went wrong with Orbot and Cubot.
Orbot first appeared in Sonic Unleashed, unnamed, but was then given a name and a more prevalent role along with Cubot in Sonic Colors. Perhaps the most out-of-nowhere reference, which surprised many.
I bet Tangle would love climbing around these ruins.
He's referring to Tangle the Lemur, a character who originates from the IDW Sonic comics, and thus far has only appeared in Sonic Dash and Sonic Forces Speed Battle, 2 mobile games with basically no story. If you don't know, in the comics she becomes an ally of Sonic and eventually joins the Restoration Group, which was a group formed from the Resistance Group, which is what fought off Eggman's army, aka basically the events of Sonic Forces.
It's like how I couldn't handle it after Infinite attacked. One wrong turn and I fall apart.
That said, in Sonic Forces, the primary antagonist is Infinite, a jackal who somehow managed to be even edgier than Shadow. In the hard mode exclusive shoot 'em up boss battle in Frontiers, The End, this is a bunch of ominous, spooky stuff along with the words, "I am infinite." While it's possible that they're trying to make a connection to the character, I think it's more likely that it's just being used as a cliche because the whole monologue is filled with grandiose yet vague statements, but who knows? Lastly, there are a bunch of other locations that are name dropped, so I'll just roll through them real quick.
I wonder if there's a palace hidden inside the volcano, like on Angel Island. What is the connection between the Ancients and Angel Island? Is there one? What a view! Makes me think of the falls and Mystic Ruins. Really getting some Sky Sanctuary vibes here, but older. So many balloons. Maybe they drifted in from Spagonia. Brings back memories of Rail Canyon. Red Mountain had a view like this too. I'm getting flashbacks of Lava Reef. This looks like the shrine on Angel Island. And that looks like a broken off-color Master Emerald. So much fresh powder. And me without my snowboard.
Closing things out, all of this stuff brings up the topic of what is canon. It's worth mentioning that Takashi Iizuka, head of Sonic Team, said in an interview that if we're talking about the comics, the Netflix series, and the games, moving forward the idea of trying to get all of them into the same universe, or even if it's not exactly the same universe, at least having them feel like they're part of a connected universe, is something that's very important to us. Along with this, Ian Flynn, the writer of Sonic Frontiers, said in an interview with IGN some months back, with Sonic Frontiers, Sega provided the story, backstory, plot beats, usable characters, and so on. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Now, let's end things here. Thank you so much for watching, big thanks to my channel members for their support, and an island-sized thanks to Captain Crayfish for being a super fan. If you are interested in some more Sonic Frontiers videos, or just Sonic videos in general, I got you covered, but also other stuff like Mario and Zelda and things. That's it for this one, bye-bye.